everyone, it's Anu here and it's the beginning of October. I'm in my garden and I thought let's walk through the garden and just have a look at how it's going here and start up by the seed table where I put the seeds in at the beginning of September. And some of those grew up, like broccoli and romanesco already grew up, and I put them in bigger pots, which was a bit wasteful because I ended up planting them into the ground like a week and a half later. My starting pots are really a bit too small in my opinion. We just happen to have a load of them, so I'm using them up. And because of my kind of attitude of not wasting any, I'm reusing them too, and it means we're never going to get rid of them. We're just going to be stuck with these thousands of little tiny pots, which is good, count your blessings and all that, but I prefer them a bit bigger, if I'm honest. The other problem I've been having is that the soil that I'm using is actually kind of this really moisture retaining substrate that you put in your beds to keep everything nice and moist. And I haven't got any other soil for the time being, so I've been using that. And because it retains that moisture so well, and it has been sort of sunny and rainy and everything, it means that there's this algae that develops on top of the seedling trays, and it looks a right mess, and I'm not a big fan. A lot of the leeks have come up, but not so many onions as of yet. I did just chuck some more seeds into the onion trays, so hopefully that'll work. Cavallonera always really successful. Some curly kale has popped up, not all of it, which again I'm slightly disappointed in because I wanted at least 10 plants, but maybe that's a bit too many anyway. Maybe a couple of plants would be enough. Right, let's leave this seed table for the minute and go down the terrace to the vegetable garden. Here by the peas, you can see they're already grown. It's way over 20 centimeters, and I got some string, so I put a second layer in, and it looks like I soon have to put yet more string in. So from the summer months, basil bush that I keep trimming so that it doesn't flower, and one that I let go to flower, let it do its thing. They're absolutely loved by all the buzzies. And here's the one that I keep trimming back. The gap is enormous now between these because I have been trimming quite harshly. I had a big case of some kind of mildew, as you can see on these peppers here. And because it became quite damp, I thought I'll reduce some of the foliage. I don't know what to do. Shall I just sacrifice these plants and get rid of them and make some space? Or do you think there's an opportunity for them to still come right? Our sweetest orange tree. I gave this orange tree quite a hard pruning over the last couple of years. Firstly, because it was so tall, impossible to pick fruit from, and it had these really strong spikes all around the branches. It was really difficult to actually prune and look after. And secondly, and more importantly, the tree trunk is seriously damaged, so the weight of the tree and the general condition of it was quite compromised. The tree has not looked as good as it does today. I've combated the leaf miners and ants, but why now I'm getting the small fruit? I hope it's just a one-off and it'll resume normal production next year. Hello, let's have a look at this specimen. It's quite big. It's gonna fly off as soon as I touch it. No? Oh, I'm gonna take you! Oh, yes! Oh. There it is, if I can just grab a hold of it. Let's have a look at this guy. I'm sorry. Ah. Yeah, alright, you can go if you want. Sorry to squish your wings. Wants to go back in the orange tree, I guess. Go on then. Wanna go in the tree? Yeah, alright. They don't cause any trouble. It's a locust. These ones are solitary and they just have a little munch and they go away. So go on, live your life. So yeah, I really wonder about this orange tree. I was so pleased when I saw that it had done so many fruits, but now looking at it, I wish it was fewer but fatter. Now let's go up onto the upper level and see the beds over there. At the beginning of this, an exciting chili variety I'm growing called Carolina Reaper. I've never tried it, never grown it, but it is supposedly the hottest chili in the world. Then there's the habanero pepper bush, which has already given us such an abundance of chilies. There's also this Gundia pepper variety, and sometimes called pirarras. It's used mainly in the Basque Country cuisine, and we actually love this variety. Then there is what I suspect to be a Scotch bonnet chili plant. This one's a stray, which I found happily growing on the side of this bed. It's not in the right place, but I'm very pleased to have it. It's the only surviving homegrown chili plant this year, and although I don't remember planting it there, the chili being one of my favorites are now a priority, so I cut back the rest of the plants to allow it more space. My planting is always chaotic, and it seems I'm not always aware of what happens when I turn my back. I still have some tomatoes here ripening up, and it goes into this potato territory here. Here's my head knocker gourd, and it's getting bigger and even more perfect for bumping my head on. I tidied up this bed yesterday with the aubergines. They were all flopping all over the place, so I just tied them together. I gave them a bit of feed as well because they're obviously pushing a little bit of fruit, and the same here. Here I actually planted some broccoli and beetroot. Underneath all that mimosa mulch, and I did a really big tidy for this bed, so while it doesn't look it necessarily, it is being cared for. And this one I think has the market mode 76. We're still getting a lot of harvest, which is marvelous. We've been pickling them because there's just too much to eat. And here on the side at the end is Malabar spinach. While I've been walking here, I've actually been considering and now decided that I'm going to make myself a little guide and plant things by the square foot gardening method. I think that'll be great. I do love my chaotic garden beds, but in truth, I want to increase the production and become more organized. While really happy accidents happen, like me growing my first full-size watermelon, it's obvious that planning and labeling, being more organized, is key to bigger harvests. Let's have a look at how this garlic is doing. Oh yeah, good. This is good. So, I'm gonna pop it back in there. First, before I get to planting, I'm going to clear this sweet corn bed. I had a few ears of corn, which are now drying to make flour. This was an experimental crop for me, as the more juicier variety that I had planted did not come up. I happened to have these flower variety seeds, so I grew them instead. Even though it wasn't the right type of corn I liked, I still wanted to grow some, as I wanted the silks to make this potent tincture. And here's me processing some really small cups for the tincture and the mix ready for brewing. As I mentioned earlier, I am keen to try the square foot gardening method, so I made a guide. I used this piece of cardboard that held cat food tins, and the tin imprints are kind of cool actually. Here is my garlic, and what I'll do now is just gently, you want to make sure you get a little bit of that root in there, and then I can just stick these in. I could see what's gonna happen. I'm gonna get into it and get like strings and stuff set up so that I can actually measure this correctly. So I'm burying the bulbs right in. I could use a stick or something, I suppose, to get the hole. This is absolutely amazing. Even the rounded ends of these beds are so close to being almost a square foot, so I can just visually adjust my planting around the ends of the beds, and I can see immense benefits of using this method, and I'm an instant fan, 100%. I'm planting full broccoli here, and with almost 2 square foot of garlic and 2 of beetroot, that's 18 of each plant. This has already solved one of the biggest problems I've had in my garden, which is about spacing. Since I also plant in succession, I have found it slightly confusing before, but using this method I can see it being much easier in the future. Once a square foot is harvested, a different crop can be planted in its stead. In case you don't know, a square foot gardening is a practice of dividing the growing area into small square sections. The aim is to assist the planning and creating of a small but intensely planted vegetable garden. It results in a simple and orderly gardening system, and that's from Wikipedia. This method was invented by Mel Bartholomew, an American fella who coined the term and wrote a book about it in 1981. And that's actually really one of the great things about gardening for me, besides being able to be surrounded by plants and bugs and observe the change of the seasons. I'm always learning and looking forward to the next phase, when the next crop will come, and will this method work or that. Let me know where you're watching from. I love meeting you guys down in the comment section. I wish you all happy gardening and see you soon. Bye now.